Hi, and welcome back to Politodoxy. I am your host, Aaron Friedman. Well, today I have a very special guest who has had something. I thought her story is very telling and very important in regards to what's happening in the Western world, allowing um, certain barbaric practices to be held, and this mostly gets swept under the rug. A lot of people don't want to talk about it because of what it entails and the difficult conversations that arises once you realize that these kinds of things actually do happen, and it's happening not only in places of the third world, but it's also happening in well sophisticated, well adjusted societies. So, without further ado, I want her to tell her story in her own words. So, Frida, free, sorry,
Farida.
Farida.
No, no problem.
Yeah, go ahead. So tell us first, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm great, thank you.
Well, I came across your video and I saw what I came across your video and I saw what you had to say, and I was utterly shocked that this
Yeah.
would be happening in the Western world, because I knew that this was happening in other places, but I didn't know that this was so, this has been imported here. So
Mm.
let's get into this. I want you to tell your story of where you come from, your backstory, and what led up to um, the the genital mutilation.
Okay. So, yeah, my name's Frida. I'm 29 years old. I'm born and brought up in the UK, but I have Indian origin, so I'm actually Indian. However, my family for the last few generations has lived in Kenya. So, yeah, and they actually belong to an Islamic cult, which originates in India. And it's very unusual. Like, honestly, when I describe it to people, like, it doesn't make any sense because it's just so crazy. So they have, like, even in the UK, they have mosques, like, they have their own, like, kind of community, like their own hub. They have, like, a mosque in a lot of the major cities, so in Birmingham, Nottingham, Manchester, Bradford, London. They're all over the UK, and it's very tight knit, very, like, enclosed. Like, they don't even allow other Muslims in. Like, they don't even like other Muslims coming into their mosque to pray. They get a bit funny about it, and yes, it's a very tight knit community and very extreme. Like, when I grew up in this cult, I didn't realize how extreme it was until, at age 14, I was like, okay, I don't want to deal with this anymore. And I left. And it was like, the next 5 years that I really started to process and understand, like, what the hell did I just grow up in? And so, yeah, so I grew up in that, and in the sect, they require girls at age 7, they enforce it on girls age 7 to get cut. And this practice, FGM, female genital mutilation, is illegal in the UK. So, also, apologies if you can hear my dogs, because they're going to be going crazy. It's that time of the morning. So, this practice is, it's illegal in the UK. So, a lot of people take girls out of the UK, but the thing is, nobody speaks about it. So I've tried to speak to other people about their experiences, but just silence. Like, either I don't get a reply, or they don't remember. A lot of girls don't even remember. Like, my mom's had this done to her, and she has absolutely no memory of it happening. So she doesn't even understand what has happened to her, because she doesn't have memory. But for me, I remembered every single second of what happened to me. So, yeah, it's a very taboo thing. Nobody wants to talk about it. I think all the women hold so much shame around this, because you're being violated, and these people, they do it with no anesthetic, a lot of them, and which I find even more barbaric, because I can even, okay, as a baby, they do it to men as without any anesthetic, which I find insane. So imagine doing it like as a baby, you are probably gonna forget, but as a 7-year-old, there's no way. Like a lot of girls don't forget, and I find that yeah, just evil to the core. That is cutting a girl where all her nerves, there's such a high concentration of nerves, with no anesthetic it's just torture. So yeah, so at 7 years old, I remember we were going. My parents like basically packed up the whole car, and me and my brother thought that we were going camping, and they just pretended they wanted to like surprise us, and then we just turned up at the airport, and we were like super confused. And then, anyways, we were in Kenya. We used to go like maybe every year or every other year on holiday there, to visit family, because all my mom's side of the family live in Kenya. And we arrived there, and I don't know, my memory's very blurry at that age, but I just remember one day my mom said that I'm hanging out with my aunt, and I went with her, and so she took me to this house, and I remember that day there were dogs barking, and my whole life I've had this insane fear of dogs. Like when I see a dog coming towards me, my entire body would freeze up, and I kind of linked it to. I realized like, oh, it's from this day where as I grew up, But so there was a dog barking in the background, and I went into this room, and these two women basically like pinned my legs down. They got me to lie on the bed, and I was so confused. I didn't really understand like why am I lying on somebody's bed in some random house? And they pulled my trousers down, pinned my legs apart. And then my aunt, like I was kind of laying in her lap, and she had like this religious clothes. She kind of just covered my head, and yeah, it was just scary, like so scary. I was panicking, and then these two women, like I started kicking my legs and stuff. These two women like just pulled my legs apart, and they were like, "It's only gonna take a second, like just be quiet." And then I remember like opening the thing, and I see like one of those like razors that you put in a cutthroat razor. That's what they used, and and then I don't even know what she did. But I remember, like, I think I blacked out. I remember the pain was like it's the most pain I've ever felt in my life. So it was singed into my memory. And then the next thing I remember is coming home to my other aunt's house, and I go to the bathroom, like, I can barely even walk, like, I'm just, yeah. And I go to the bathroom, and I pull my underwear down, and they've just stuffed, like, a bunch of cotton in my pants, and it's just red. And I don't even know what's going on. Like, I just remember, like, just sitting in there crying. I didn't want to go near anybody. And I think, for me, like, I didn't even know what that was. I just had all these years, like, after as I grew up, I just had this memory in my head of this thing happening, and nobody spoke about it. Nobody even told me. I don't even remember a single conversation where anybody even explained, like, what just happened, or why they did that, or I don't even know if I asked. I don't know, maybe I did. I don't remember. And then so I actually found out what this thing was at school. So in the UK they do educate girls about what FGM is. It's like part of the school curriculum, and they put on like a movie one day. So I went to an all girls school. They put on this movie about FGM, and I remember sitting in that class and watching it, and then something just clicked in my head, and I was like, oh my god, like this is what that thing was that I didn't even, like, that I had no words for all these years. This is what it is. And then I just remember like kind of melting into my chair and just feeling
At what
all this.
age was this? At what age did you figure
12,
out what happened?
age 12.
Hmm.
And all I kept hearing was that it's illegal, like, this practice is illegal. And I remember going home that day after finding out, and just letting it rip on my parents. And I was like, I remember just hating my mom so much because I was like, this is illegal. Like, you guys could go to jail. And like, I remember just, yeah, screaming because I was like, how can you guys do this to me? Like, and yeah, finally started to understand what it was. I still didn't know what they'd removed, because I don't know what it's supposed to look like. I'm just a little kid. And yeah, actually, this is so crazy because I remember at 12 I also came on my period, and I remember when I saw the blood again, it was like re-traumatizing to me because I remember screaming for my mom because I was like, this is scary, like this isn't normal, there's not supposed to be blood there, because it brought me back to that memory. Like, I couldn't even enjoy this experience of becoming a woman now because I was traumatized, and it was probably, I think, yeah, the first couple of times I bled, like, it was bringing up all of that trauma again because I'm still a kid. Like, I don't understand what's happening. And yeah.
Well, that that would be extremely traumatizing to anyone, regardless of gender, I guess. But this, let me ask you. So this, I want to get into the questions about your parents, what they thought of it, and what they thought afterward. But before
Mhm.
we do, I want to first understand. So this is this normal practice in Islam, or is this a more exclusive type of practice in Islam?
So from my research, so the cult that I was in, it's standard practice, and there are many, many cults like that where it's standard practice. And from the research that I've done, I so I didn't really understand. I thought, I was listening to the myths. Like, I kind of started researching this like maybe 2 months ago, and I was reading about all the myths around female genital mutilation, and all they keep saying is it's an Africa problem, and Christians do it, and indigenous groups do it, and there was nothing written about Islam, like radio silence about Islam. So then I started asking my mom, because the thing is, there's nobody really that openly talks about this and that will even be willing to have a conversation about it to me. So I asked my mom and I said, okay, like what is the justification used for this? And she told me that the prophet basically said, that the lead to this, the cult that I'm in, that it has like a man that everybody follows. So he has said that, the prophet Muhammad said that girls should be cut. So this is the reason they use. So it's so there's actually a hadith that they use as justification for FGM. And the hadith says, a woman used to perform circumcision in Medina. The Prophet said to her, do not cut severely, as that is better for a woman and more desirable for a husband. So as much as people say that this hadith is weak, this is what they use in so many different sects and kind of denominations of Islam to justify female genital mutilation. So in the one I'm in, this is what they use. And yeah, from my research, like, what I did was I first pulled so there's only a very limited amount of data. So according to the data, there's 230 million girls that they are aware of that have been cut. So just that 230 million figure means that 1 in 20 women have been cut around the world. However, this data is they only survey women between the ages of 15 and 49. So all the children are missed out, and all the women that have already been cut over the age of 50 are also excluded. And imagine, in that small pool, how many women like haven't even been surveyed. Like, I'm not part of the survey, and I know many, many, many thousands of girls in this community alone that wouldn't be part of that survey. So yeah, so there's this 230 million figure. So then I started digging in and I started looking at the countries with the high prevalence of FGM. So there is a lot of data in Africa because that's the only place they survey. And you look at the FGM prevalence. So I looked at all maybe 15, 20 countries with very high FGM prevalence. And then I was thinking, okay, let me look at the religions that dominate these countries. And I'll give you an example right here. So Somalia has a FGM prevalence of 99%, and the main religion is Islam, 99.8%. You look at Guinea, it has an FGM prevalence of 96%, Islam, 89%. Djibouti, 93% FGM prevalence, and Islam, 94%. Mali, 89% FGM prevalence, 95% Islam. Egypt, 87% FGM prevalence, Islam 90%. Sudan, 86% FGM prevalence, Islam 91%. So just in these African countries, which a lot of people think, oh, they're just black people, they don't associate Islam with Africa. A lot of people, they think that they're Christian or that they're indigenous. But Islam has taken over a lot of Africa. Like we see right now in Nigeria, nobody's talking about it, how the Christians are being murdered by Muslims because there's so many Muslims all over Africa now. It's literally taken over. So you look at just those 6 countries already, you can see a pattern, a very, very strong correlation where FGM prevalence matches the population, how much of the population follows Islam. And so that was what I found out in Africa. And then I started researching into the rest of the world, because there are other countries that aren't in Africa that are dominated by Islam, such as Malaysia, Indonesia. And there has been a survey done in Indonesia where they surveyed 300,000 households, and they found that half of these girls had FGM done. So so you can imagine this, that the population of Indonesia is currently, in 2024, it was 138 million. So if according to the survey, you extrapolate the numbers, 300,000 households have been surveyed, 50% of girls have been cut. That's pretty much 70 million girls that are missing from this data. You've already got 230 million girls. In just Indonesia alone, you can estimate about 70 million girls. That's just one country in Asia. So Asia is completely missing from the numbers. This figure of 230 million is mostly Africa. Asia is completely missing. There's so many countries that practice Islam in Asia, there's a lot of Muslims in India, Pakistan, and then we have Malaysia, Indonesia, and more countries, even Sri Lanka, there's a lot of Muslims. And I have a friend, actually, who told me this disgusting story of how his mom heard, so that there was Muslims living next door, and his mom heard them circumcising the newborn baby girl, and next door, and she heard the screams, and she said she cannot get those screams of the baby out of her head. And this is what they did to a newborn baby girl. And I couldn't believe it, because how do you have a baby and do that? And I don't know. So this is happening all around the world. There are people with so many stories. It's just nobody in the mainstream is talking about it. And this is why I felt like I had to share my story of how I grew up in the UK, and this even happened to me in the UK. It's happening in the West, because I haven't heard a single person in the mainstream talking about this barbaric stuff. And in all the Western countries, it's illegal. However, it's happening constantly. I know all the girls I grew up with have either been taken out of the UK or they've had it done in the UK by some auntie. And the worst thing is that it's women doing this to other women. That these women are so brainwashed that they're told, oh yeah, cut her. And knowing the pain and trauma that it's going to create, they still do it. So I don't even know. I just want,
The,
yeah.
I want to correct. I just want to make sure that I got what you were saying earlier correctly. When it happened to you, did it happen in England, or were you? You said you flew out to
Yeah.
Africa. Did it happen
Yes.
in or in Africa?
It happened in Kenya. So I was flown out to Kenya. So my
Okay.
pet, see, all these people are very aware that it's illegal and they're scared of the law. And, even when I started talking about FGM, my mom had a phone call from her friend, and she was like, well, somebody from the community, and she was like, oh, like nothing. She said nothing about the practice, but what she did say was, oh, by the way, your daughter's speaking about this issue, like she could put you in prison. That's what they care about. They care more about getting in trouble for doing this than they do about the trauma associated with it. And it's just insane. It's insane amounts of brainwashing. Like, yeah.
And I want to make sure that I get this right. The cult that did this, what is their name? What is their particular name in the greater Islamic culture?
So they're called the Dawdi Boras, and they worship this man called. They follow. I don't know. They basically worship him. This man called the Dai. So this man, um, he this the worship of this man is insane. Like, I used to think when I was a kid that, oh, this is normal. Like, then as I grew up, I was like, what the fuck are these people doing? Like, when I remember, so when I left at age 14, and then I remember my mom asking me, like, they built a mosque in Birmingham, like their own mosque. And I remember my mom begging me, like, she was like, oh, please come to the opening, please come, like, Mullah, that's what they call him, he's gonna be there. And I was like, oh my god, like, this is so annoying, I don't want to go. But then I was like, you know what? I haven't been in like 5 years. Let me just go and see what's going on there. Just once. So I turned up at this opening of this mosque, and so they have like the men's section, which is like the ground floor, and then they have a women's section, which is kind of like a balcony type of floor, so you can see down into the men's section. And you can see the Dai. And I remember going in, and he basically made his entrance, and these people were going insane. Like, there were girls that I grew up with, like, literally, like, crying, like, as if, like, their mom had been murdered in front of them, like, that level of crying, like, dropping to their knees, like, their just their entire body would lose, yeah, like they had no like kind of strength in their body anymore, just tears pouring out, like screaming his name. And it's like, I remember standing there and looking at these people like, where the fuck am I? And this is the same cult that, I don't know if you've seen the videos online of like Muslims hitting themselves.
Yeah, I've seen some of those videos actually.
Yeah, so these guys do that as well. Like, I was brought up to do that, and I was told, this is a really good practice. Like, you should do it as hard as you can.
Is this
And
from a deeth? The hitting yourself, is it from some kind of a deeth or something, or is it?
so they do it because they're trying to mourn the pain of Hussein, which is Muhammad's grandson, and how he got basically slain in battle, and his family got slain in battle. So they do it to mourn that. Like, that's literally the
No,
reason.
it's not even an adith. It's not even.
I think it is. I honestly, I don't really know too much about that, but that's like a known thing in Islam, that there was this battle, and his family basically just got killed, like they lost the battle. And these guys, like, yeah, they make that the center of their religion, that, oh, these guys got slain in battle, we have to hit ourselves every single day now. And they make it a point in this community, in the Dawdi Bora community, that every single like event that you go to at the mosque, they want you to hit yourself and cry, and like they literally, the leader tells everybody, the more you cry, the more like kind of blessings you're getting, and the more likely you are to go to heaven. And just it's insanity what he tells them, and these people just listen and do it. Like they cry, like their entire religion is built around suffering.
What you're saying also is that any more or less, more often than not, if I see one of those videos of one of them women that are hitting themselves, more often than not, it is safe to assume that that woman has also undergone FGM.
I have no idea. Like, I think probably a lot of them do, because a lot of them don't even know that they've had FGM. Like for me, I'm even lucky that I know what had happened to me, because I saw a documentary and I actually have the memory of it happening to me. But imagine how many girls don't even remember. Like, in general, when you look at um, people's trauma, a lot of people don't even know as an adult why they're suffering. They don't relate that, oh, okay, my mom, I don't know, she used to treat me like this when I was a kid, or this event happened to me as a kid. Like, it might not be mutilation, it could be absolutely anything that causes trauma in somebody. And everything is very subjective to that person, that how much pain they feel from a particular event. So, no, just in general, when you look at people's trauma, a lot of people don't remember. So something as crazy as mutilation, something as extreme as mutilation, a lot of, imagine what the percentages of people who don't even know that they've had this done, and they're just suffering. They just have all this shame and anxiety and pain in their body. And this is why, there's the saying, hurt people hurt people. And this is why they act the way they do in the world, because they're hurting inside, and their only kind of outlet is to be angry, to, you know, project fear onto other people. And this is why I feel like they do this in Islam, because they know how the psychology works. Like, they've got it down to the root. They do this so that these people, they're controlled. That's how you control mass populations, through fear.
I want to ask you also about your parents and your, you confronting them. But before I do, I want to play
Hmm.
it. I want to play you something here. Let me bring this up here. All right, so there we have it.
Female circumcision, scholars differed, and the most authentic opinion is that it is recommended and it's a sunnah. Female circumcision.
So, did you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, so this person is one of the more mainstream Islamic scholars, more of the mainstream. He became actually kind of famous because he made this joke about an air conditioner or whatever, and he is more uh, pretty much a lot of Westerners have taken a liking to him precisely because he acts kind of funny on certain things and he acts kind of likable. But then I've seen certain of his videos, and then I've seen, oh wait a minute, no, this guy is a complete and total nut, and he is a very dangerous one. And most people don't see the crazy videos where he talks about having sex slaves. He talks about um, sub, forcing the Christians, the Jews, basically everyone into submission to pay the jizya, etc., conquering um, Christian countries, destroying Europe, etc. And, sex slaves, 6-year-olds marrying 6-year-olds, all the other things. Like he's fully here. So what he in that video is, of course, saying that he goes on to say that this is not something that must be done to women, according to him. So in his view, he takes a moderate view.
Yeah.
But it doesn't.
Exactly.
You don't have to do it to women, but if you do it, it's sunnah. So which means that because you do what the prophet did, you're gonna get rewarded for it. It's not a
Yeah.
requirement, according to him. So where you're coming from, it is a requirement. Where he is coming from, it's not a requirement, but you're gonna get rewarded if you do.
Yeah.
So so this is the moderate side of Islam. For those who are wondering, what is the moderate? The moderate side is that you don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You don't have to, but we recommend it.
yes, so that's the other side. You're coming from a place where it was ordered that you must, and they're coming from a
Yeah.
place where you don't have to. But it's female genital mutilation, where they cut off a piece in order to make sure that the woman can't experience pleasure. It
Hmm.
is a defilement of the body, and yeah. So let's get into your confrontation with your with your parents.
Yeah.
So, as you said, you confronted them at first at when you were 12, right? I would like
hmm
to know what happened when you did.
I don't remember. I just remember my memory is very blurry. Like my whole childhood, I used to wonder why do I not have a memory, but it's because there's so much trauma throughout it. But I remember they just said like just everything was kind of denied. Like it was like, okay, yeah, we did this, but and what kind of thing? Like, what do you want us
Have
to
you come
do?
to have you ever
We've
come
done it now.
have you come
Pardon?
to peace? Have you come to peace with them? How is your relationship now?
So I don't talk to my dad at all. I haven't spoken to him for many years. I just yeah, he used to beat me up, and he's just useless to me. So I don't have any relationship with my dad. But with my mom, yeah, we had a very ruptured relationship for many years because I always held this blame towards her because even when my dad used to like hit me and stuff, it was like kind of like my mom was always trying to keep the peace. But now I understand my mom, like as I've grown up, like I understand that my mom, her whole life has also been severely traumatized, and all she was trying to do was keep the peace in any way she could. She didn't understand that, like she didn't understand that she had any power. She didn't even feel powerful in any way that she could make a change. So everything was about, let's just diffuse the situation, because I know I was like a firecracker when I was growing up. Like I would scream and shout at the top of my lungs, and I would, I was the rebel child. Like I was very naughty, and that was like, now I understand why I was like that, because of all this. Nobody ever listened to me, and I was basically just ignored all the time. I didn't feel like I had an opinion, so I just used to shout all the time because I felt like nobody wanted to hear what I had to say. So for my mom, this was very difficult, to have a child like this. So she did have a difficult job raising me, but she didn't have the understanding of why I was the way I was. So as I grew up, like at like age 19, I think I started doing my inner work and started understanding that, okay, look, like I'm just filled with anxiety. Where do I go from here? And then just over the years, like I've had many conversations with my mom about FGM, and like now she's completely supportive of what I'm doing. Like I got my mom, out of that marriage with my father. I got her out that house where I just felt like she, like what is her life here? My mom's just like work. She goes to work, she comes home, makes dinner, and that's it. She doesn't have a life. Like this, to me, like that was my one mission, to get my mom out that house. But yeah, over the years, I've really tried to repair my relationship with my mom, because I know that my mom didn't do any of this on purpose. Like, she doesn't, my mom loves me a lot. And a lot of this is just brainwashing. So I've tried to unbrainwash her. Like, I got her basically out of Islam like a couple of years ago. All those years, she had this like kind of, it's almost like a demon. That's how I think of it. Like there's like this demon like over her of Islam, like in her brain, in her mind, like controlling everything she says and does. And it's like, and I've pulled her out of that. Like my mom literally did like a yoga teacher training course like a couple of weeks ago, and I just think she's doing so well now, because she's not there. She's actually thriving as a human being. But in that cult, it's just, there's no room for growth. Like these people, they have like every part of your brain hijacked. Okay, wait, I think I'm going on a tangent. I'm
Yeah,
just talking about everything and anything and everything. So you were talking about my relationship with my mom. So okay, yeah. So over the years, there was a lot of conversations we had, a lot of arguments, a lot of screaming, where I felt like she wasn't hearing me when I told her, look, like you did this to me, and I felt every second of it. I think she gets it a lot more now, because like she's heard my story. She's never heard my story in the way that I've put it out there on the internet now. And I think, you know, instantly she supported me. She was like, I want you to put this out there because she doesn't even remember, and she knows that this thing is silenced. Nobody's talking about it. Even to her, like, she doesn't even know much about why it's done and how it's done, and you know, nobody talks about any of this. They discuss like the logistics of getting it done, and then after that it's swept under the rug. So for my mom, this has been also an eye-opening experience. But yeah, now I don't know if you've seen the comments on a lot of my videos, the resistance from that community. Like, I literally had a lady tell me, oh, like, I should actually bring up the comment because it was pretty fucked up. She basically compared it to like a woman cutting herself, like cooking in the kitchen and cutting herself, and she was like, why are you making such a big deal out of it? And saying, I had this thing done and I didn't cry the way you cried, like, and I'm like, and all I hear from that
There's
comment
a
is
word
that
for that.
she's super traumatized herself. Like, she's so traumatized that she's disassociated with her emotions to the point where she doesn't feel any empathy towards another woman. Like, that's really, really sad. That this is exactly what they want with this. They want the women to be so traumatized and so numb that they don't even feel, they're not even connected to their feminine energy anymore. They're not even connected to their feminine emotions. They're just a shell of a woman. Yeah, you look like a woman, but you are not a woman anymore, because women, the whole point of being a woman is you feel your emotions, you empathize. That's the best part of being a woman. And that's why they do this. They attack you down there. So you're not a woman anymore. You're basically a freaking thing to have sex with and make babies and to obey.
So what? So by the way, there's a word for that. It's called Stockholm syndrome. It's where you fall in love with your abuser, more or less, and that's
Mm-hmm.
what seems to be the case here. And also, congratulations on leaving not only the cult but Islam as a whole and getting your mother out of there as well. Um, why do you think? Let me ask you first. The what do you think about the feminists who keep on protesting constantly all over the place about, I don't know, minimum wage bullshit or all kinds of things, but for some reason uh, the gender wage gap bullshit
Yeah.
disproved already. I don't know what else. All kinds of other things that they want to be equal to a man, even though it'll never happen. But long story short is they don't talk about things that actually impact women, such as you said, millions and millions, hundreds of millions of women are being mutilated, and not a word. I've seen so many women, so many of these liberal feminists constantly talk about either gender wage gap. They talk about women's sports and how the women should be making more money on the sports,
Yeah.
and um, false sexual assault allegations that women should be able to get away with. Believe all women for some reason, even though women lie, much like everyone else lies because they're human beings, right?
Yeah.
But they don't talk about something that actually I can get on board with, is ending genital mutilation and female genital mutilation. And these people are quiet. I've not seen a single one of any of the liberal feminists ever talk about it. And when I say that, I mean the influencers. I've seen certain liberal feminists who are of higher regard, who have made a name for themselves, who've sold books. Some of them, like maybe two or three, and that's it. The vast majority talk about nonsense arguments, nonsense things that doesn't concern them or doesn't help them, doesn't help anyone except for them to make more money. But why do you think there is not that these women who are champions of women, these feminists, arch feminists, I like to call them feminazis, why don't they talk about this very important subject, especially since it's happening also in the West?
Yep. So I think there's a few reasons. First of all, I think these women just enjoy being victims. So the first thing that they're going to do is they're going to go for the easy stuff like, oh, you know, men make more money than us, but we work just as hard. And what else do they say?
Basically, it's basically a hatred of patriarchy and of fathers.
Yeah. So they hate
Basically a hatred of
men.
men.
That
That's
I
the
think they're so
all it is.
traumatized by the lack of having a father, a good father figure. A lot of these women, like when you actually look at these women and you look at their childhoods, a lot of them had a poor father figure. Like same with me. Like I used to be in that category of feminists and hating men and like saying all this nonsense like men are trash and all men lie and all men cheat and just categorizing men into this umbrella that they're just like the worst people on earth and every problem is because of them. And this is just Western brainwashing. Like we are literally brainwashed. Like the education system and all the like university, I feel like you just turn out like that because that's the opinion that's circulating and you just kind of absorb it, and until you actually think like, is this even true? Like, do I even want to hold these beliefs? Like, how are these beliefs holding me back? You're not going to get anywhere. And that's the mainstream view nowadays, is to hate men and to think that, yeah,
Before you continue, I want to ask you, and I already know the answer because you already said it. I just want to like clarify for the audience: the people who hurt you, the people who held you down, the people who strapped you down, the people who you know hurt you physically were all
yeah,
women. As you said, the people who
yeah, for that
held you down were
incident.
women, not men.
Yeah, this particular incident, when I got caught, they were all women. Every other thing, yes, is men. But the female genital mutilation was done to me by another woman. And it always, majority of the times, is done by another woman. Because they want to protect the woman's, genitals. They don't want a man to come in and look like, because
Yeah,
that's, what is the
yeah,
word for
yeah,
it?
the gender
Yeah,
stuff. I know that. So
yeah,
with that, so let's go back to the previous question at hand. Why do you think that these people don't want to talk about this? They don't want. They talk about all the other bullshit things, continuously
yeah,
hating on men over and over again. Even though they are not going to work on the offshore oil rigs, they're not going to work the construction. They're not going to work the mechanics. They're
yeah,
not going to work any of the things that make modern society run. And yet they feel like they're independent, even though they are fundamentally dependent on the labor of a man every day of the week. They're not firefighters. They're not police. They're not emergency personnel. They're not military. They're all of the things that make society run. No, they are diplomats and politicians. A lot of women, librarians. They are actually librarians. Love for the librarians. That's unfair. But they take all of these useless positions like
yeah,
HR and again, I'm sorry for the librarians. That's not fair. But they take other positions like HR. They create these things that don't progress society forward in order to feel independent, constantly hating on men. But yet, with all of these positions of power that they have been put into, none of them use it to defend women. So again,
yeah.
why do you think that is?
Yeah, so number one is they love to be victims. Number two is they want to be politically correct, but only when it comes to Islam. Not
Right.
not in anything else. People are just so scared of Muslims because they literally want to murder you when you speak out. Like, look at how many people in history have been murdered for speaking out against Islam. Like, Islam can go and criticize every other religion, every other thing. They want to talk about gays. They want to talk about, oh, we don't want our children to be taught this at school. And, they want to talk about, they want to kind of, they're allowed to have an opinion on Christians, Jews, every other religion. But when it comes to anybody saying anything about them, oh, no, you can't do that. We're going to murder you. Shut up. Be silent or you're dead, basically. Like, we've seen that with Ryan. Like, very recent example. He started speaking out. These people are after him instantly. And, yeah, like, that's the thing. This people are scared. Like, they know that, okay, if I talk about all this nonsense, nobody's really gonna come after me and murder me, are they, for my opinion? But if I actually talk about the real stuff, there's a big chance that people are gonna be after me, and that's why for me it's so important that I speak out, because I'm not scared of these people anymore. Like, these people are literally ruining the fucking world. Like, look at all the trauma they're causing as a religion. They're cutting girls. The men are literally raping and grooming children all over the world, not even just in England. Like, yes, there's the grooming gangs in England, but you look at in Afghanistan, they literally like rape little boys. And in Pakistan has the highest gay porn consumption in the world. Like, they talk about how that they're homophobic, but they're all gay. And you look out in like all of the Middle East, why are you covering up women? They're literally covering up women to the point where you can't even see a woman. Like, if you're not gay, why would you cover up a woman's beautiful body? Why would you cover up her hair? Why would you cover up her face? Like, wouldn't you want to admire that? A real man, a
It's
straight man.
sensory, it's a sensory deprivation chamber. They seek to dehumanize. That's what it is. God did not put you, did not create a body for you to be completely not seen. God made
Yeah.
you beautiful for a reason. And of course, I'm a huge fan of modesty and I'm all for it. And of course, and by the way, I'm not even against the hijab per se. The same way I'm not against the tikhel, the Jewish version,
Hmm.
or the mantilla,
Yeah.
which is the Christian version. I'm not against the hijab per se, as long as it's not forced, but I'm not against it. I am against, and this is something that the liberals have a hard time understanding when I make my case, is that not the hijab, as long as it's not forced. My problem is with the burqa, the niqab, the some other things that basically completely distort. There's a head covering, no issue there. You have
Hmm.
a head covering. A lot of cultures have head coverings. I've seen it
Yeah.
all over the place. It's a sign of beauty and modesty. Then there
Yeah.
is the complete dehumanization, and that's exactly what you're describing right now. The complete dehumanization of people of the other sex because they do not see you as being a human. You are, to them, they believe that you are just a sex toy, and because of it, no other man property. Therefore, no other man should be able to see you. If they do, then they have, in a way, I guess, violated the other man's property because they are extremely perverted, and that's a
Yeah.
them issue, if you ask me. And it, you'll be surprised. By the way, I've done this. I've done multiple videos, and every time I get the liberals call me Islamophobic, constantly calling me Islamophobic, and I just don't take it. They they get destroyed even by the comment section. My own followers destroy them. But here's the thing: there are liberals. This is something that you will find this. There are certain liberals that will call you, by the way, Islamophobic for it, and
Yeah.
I was attacking the niqab, and this guy, this liberal dumbass idiot retard, starts talking about why are you against the hijab. He starts talking, not even attacking my position. He creates an entirely different argument and tries to engage with that, and then
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so the entire comment section was absolutely we're ripping him to shreds because I have a lot of ex-Muslims that follow me, a lot of people who actually know what Islam is about, and you'll find a lot of people on the liberal side that constantly defend Islam. So you say it's only because, and not only, but you say it's because of fear. But to me, it doesn't seem like that there is much fear. I think, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but do you think that there is more stupidity and retardation from these people who are liberal, women actually, a lot of them, who are defending Islam, even though they would be the first ones to be oppressed under a Sharia
Yeah.
type system?
Oh, for sure. There is 100% so much retardation in these women because there's no logic. Like, you're supporting something that is literally gonna put you in a hijab and tell you to shut the fuck up and get in the kitchen and cut you, probably. You know, they even in some cultures they cut women. If they've converted a woman into Islam, they'll cut them
I
because
mean,
they think that their body is impure before it's cut.
I
So
wouldn't be surprised. I mean, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised that this is the kind of thing that's happening. So this is the type of people that you're going to have to be dealing with. You're going to have to be dealing with from the right, I guess. You're going to have to deal with the Muslims who hate you, and then you're going to also from the left. You're going to deal with the retarded liberals. You're going to deal with men and women who are going to call you Islamophobic, even though you are ex-Muslim. Are you?
exactly.
Are you? What are you now? What are you religious at all? Are you non-religious, if I may ask?
So I went through a whole spectrum. After I left Islam at 14, I became atheist because I was like, not yeah, atheist. I was like, I don't believe in God. Like, what God doesn't exist. Like, how can I go through all of this trauma and I've been praying to God all this time, and he's not been there for me. And then I was atheist for until I think the age of 23, and then just before that, actually about 22, I started getting into like the spiritual woo woo, like the crystals and like just understanding that energy runs everything. But I was still very just yeah, just pretty dumb. I didn't know what my belief system was. And then actually it was through Sikhism that I found God again. I created a connection and I started meditating a lot. And I wasn't Sikh, but it was like, that was my medium. Like I used to go to the temple, I used to sit down and I actually found peace. Like I would just start crying, like listening to the music because I thought it was so beautiful. And it created like, it kind of reignited that connection back to God for me. And then after that, like I for me, like I didn't ever want to be part of a religion. Like I literally looked at every single religion and I was like, this is just a cage, like man-made cage, when I can create a direct connection with God. So then I'm very spiritual. I meditate. I feel like I connect with God directly, and I don't personally need a framework to connect with God. I just try and be a very, like, just a good person. I try and help people as much as I can. I just try and spread love, and yeah, it's not like I don't pick from religions. I read a lot of different religious scriptures, and I just pick out all the things that resonate with me and the things that I like, and I kind of
What do you think
incorporate
about
those into my life.
what do you think about Christianity?
I think I've learned a lot from Christianity. Like I've learned a lot from the Bible, and that's been one of my main sources of, like scriptures. I don't remember any off the top of my head, but when I read them, I embody them, and I'm like, yeah, I really like that, like the whole love thy neighbor. There's just so many beautiful things in the Bible, in most scriptures, in Hindu texts. In like, I was actually reading the Bhagavad Gita. I started reading that like last week. I had the Holy Bible app on my phone. I've not studied them so much. I kind of go through phases where I'm like, okay, let me read this, and then I get distracted again into
Out of
something else.
out of curiosity,
But
out of curiosity, if you don't mind me asking, so you chose. So what you're saying is that you chose Sikhism, more or less, like not in an organized way, but more as an independent, right?
it was more just so my ex-partner was Sikh, so it was through him that he wasn't religious at all, but it was through him that he was like, oh, let's go to the temple, like let's go and just sit for a bit. And that it was through that, like it just happened naturally. It wasn't even like I chose Sikhism, it was just kind of available. And yeah, and I just really enjoyed the whole meditation side of things, and connecting with God through your breath. And yeah, I really liked that, and that was the spark of
Right
my
now,
connection.
right now, would you consider yourself Sikh?
No, 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 definitely not. Like
Okay, you're not.
I don't follow any religion. I That was like my way back to God, and then I also I kind of didn't really go a lot to the temple after that. Like I would go now and then, just because I really enjoyed the whole, like, the kirtan, the music, and just being in there. Being in a place where people, it's just peaceful. The energy is nice, but I don't follow any religion, and I never will, to be honest. I don't want to.
But
I don't want to be part of
but
an organized religion.
you're still exploring, right? You're still exploring, seeing whatever fits best for your lifestyle, and you're still
Yeah,
okay. That's
for
good.
sure. Like I'm still developing. Like I don't feel like any of my beliefs are set in stone, because I could hear something that really resonates with me, and I'm like, oh, okay, wow, that's really moved me, and let's explore that. And I'm not like set in stone on my beliefs, but for me, I don't think I could be part of an organized religion again. I enjoy the community aspect, but I don't. I'm just one of those people that I don't like authority. I don't like someone telling me how to do something, and I've always been like that.
I
That's
see.
why I
I see.
hated school.
I see where you're coming from. Although maybe after this episode airs, you may get some people, some Christians who are gonna be inviting you. So that you're gonna have some people who are gonna, they're gonna welcome you. They're gonna try to reach out. Probably they're gonna, welcome you. That's how it goes. But it'll be, of course, in good faith. But yeah, I am glad that you did leave that cultic. Not only You left two cults simultaneously. One, the cult within Islam, and Islam itself is a cult, a death cult, actually, a perverted death cult that is that it was started by a caravan robber who was a child rapist slash child rapist, basically. Um, Muhammad, for those who don't know. Oh, and also who like to be nailed by the people of Al Zut. For those who don't know, for those who don't know, I don't know if you know this, but this is the one that have one of the hadiths where he went out
Yeah.
to the desert. You know this one?
I heard of it through
Okay,
Ryan's page
let me
actually. Like
recite it.
I didn't actually even
Don't
know,
worry,
and then I
don't worry. I will recite it for you. He
please.
went out to the desert with I don't know, Abdul whatever. He went out and he met the people of Al Zut, who were described as being slender, dark-skinned people with large phalluses. That's what they were known for. That was the whole point of like that is what they were known for. That was their prowess. And in the hadith, it says that that they rode, quote unquote, they rode the prophet. And in the Arabic, it rode means both, um, means riding a camel or a donkey or whatever, but it also means, the other one. It has the same kind of connotations. So apparently he
Yeah.
was gay as well. I don't know. He seems to be much more progressive than we originally thought. But yeah, so that is Muhammad, the holy messenger of Allah, child rapist, murderer, um, and war criminal, slave, enslaver, etc., etc. Like the crimes go on and on and on. But also gay, apparently. So good for him, I guess. But yeah, what would you say? And we're coming up to the end here. I would like to ask you. This is a message I would like to ask you. What do you say to all those people who are either the shit libs, I call them, the retards, the people who take the side of Islam, Westerners who constantly take the side of Islam, not knowing exactly what Islam is going to do to them? What is your message to those people who constantly take their side and don't want to talk about the female genital mutilation? They don't want to talk about the rape gangs. They don't want to talk about the sex slaves. They don't want to talk about any of those things. They just, if you criticize Islam, then you are Islamophobic. What would be your personal message to them, coming from somebody who's actually suffered under the draconian rule of Islam?
My message to them is take your fucking rose-colored glasses off and look at the damage that is being done around the world. Listen to the girls that have been cut. Listen to the girls that have been raped. Listen to the girls that have had acid thrown on their face. Listen to the men that are constantly under attack because they decide to speak out against Islam. Like, how do you, in your logical brain, focus on this side of things and just completely ignore like all the victims? There's so many victims of Islam, and yeah, do you have a brain, basically? Like, if you're ignoring
Because
this,
the
take the
answer
fucking rose-colored glasses off and look at the world for what it is. Like, stop living in your fucking delusional bullshit reality where you think Islam is like go and fucking convert to Islam if you want. If you love Islam so much, go and live in one of these countries. Go to Yemen, go to Iran, go to Afghanistan, go and live there. Stop fucking talking all your bullshit. Go to Palestine, go and convert to Islam and go and live there and see what it's like to live as a Muslim woman, and go and marry one of those men. Since you love it so much, stop fucking talking and go and do it.
completely agreed. This is exactly what I've been preaching, that they should be held to their own standards. And this is exactly some kind of national policy. I say this kind of tongue in cheek, but I would definitely want to temporarily deport all the shit libs, every single one of them who are pro-Islam,
Yeah,
temporarily deport them
to
to Islamic
countries.
countries. Be there for 1 month, just 1 month, then come back. Then tell me, so was I right? Yeah. Okay. Now you can shut.
1 month is too easy. 1 month is too easy. They need at least 6 months. They need to really feel
I,
what they're, what, and
I think they
understand
will.
what they're supporting.
I think Islam is so brutal. It's brutal enough for them to get the point in 1 month, even for their substandard, low IQ individuals who they are, for constantly defending Islam and the rape gangs and believe women, but not the ones who are being raped by Muslims.
Yeah.
So yeah. So this has been an enlightening and enlightening conversation. And also, I feel bad for what we had to discuss, but also I feel I'm glad that you get a chance to talk about it. And there are probably people who may want to interview you, right? That'll love to reach out to you. Maybe they will want to interview you. So for those who want to reach out to you and talk with you and interview you, where can they reach you?
So my Instagram handle is Farida Aurelius. So it's spelled FARIDA AURELIUS. And same, I've also I'm creating a series on my life and all the things I've experienced. So the whole point of me actually doing this is to talk about the things nobody wants to talk about. I've been through a lot of different types of traumatic experiences, but I've actually, healed from them. I'm 29. I started my healing journey at 19, and I feel like I have a lot to give to the world. Like, I kind of want to take this trauma and give it, like, show people the healing journey, and this is like kind of my gift to the world, that look, this is how I healed. A lot of people think healing is all love and light and, like yoga and let's distract ourselves from everything, and just, they're very delusional about what healing is. But healing is a very dark process. You have to go into the shadows, you have to do the shadow work, and that's the whole point of me sharing this, is to show you, look, like, you can come from these kind of experiences and live a very beautiful life where you feel peace every single day and you feel joy and happiness, and you can feel these feelings again. You don't have to suffer. So yeah, that's the point of what I'm trying to achieve. But at the same time, I really want to expose the people that have done this, because they're getting away with, they've gotten away. Everybody in my life who's ever hurt me has gotten away with it, and I'm just one woman. I'm one of billions around the world who just get silenced. So I'm happy to be the one to burn myself alive in the public, to stand up for women in the world, and men, because a lot of men have trauma too, that they don't feel like they can voice it because they feel embarrassed, they feel shame. The whole point of my series is called The Shame Was Never Mine, is all these things that people do to you. Why are you holding the shame for it? If somebody's raped you, why are you feeling shame? If somebody's cut you, if somebody's betrayed you, why do you feel the shame? It's their shame. They did it to you. So now it's your job to heal from that experience and liberate yourself and free yourself from these low vibrational emotions, and start feeling the high vibrational emotions like love, joy, gratitude, appreciation. And yeah, so that's that's what I'm trying to do.
So they can reach out to you on Instagram.
Yes.
Right. For those who want to, and that's the only place where they can reach out. Do you have an email or something that you want to share?
I've got an email, yeah. So it's FaridaAurelius@gmail.com. So you can reach out to me on there too.
Excellent. For those who want to reach out to me, you can reach out to me at Aaron Politodoxy on Instagram, or Aaron Friedman on Instagram, or Politodoxy Uncensored on Instagram. Or you can send me an email at politodoxy@gmail.com. And remember, my fellow radicals, stay political.